Freaking out, man. You can't handle the truth. You can't handle the truth.
What do all men in power want? More power.
My name is Luca Zanna. I was an Italian by birth, and I became an American by choice. Our lives and freedoms are in danger. This is not a drill. If you're listening to this broadcasting, you are the resistance.
All systems go.
Welcome to Love, Guns, and Freedom.
We're not afraid.
Here we go, guys and girls. You're listening to Love, Guns, and Freedom with Luca Zanna on K-Talks 1340 AM and on United States.fm network. Another Sunday, another show. When I started the show, the idea of how I wanted to somehow, let's say, organize it or produce it, or more important, the final goal, let's put it this way, wasn't just about to have great guests. Yes, I think we have, at least I always try to work very hard to get guests, even guests that normally they wouldn't go to a local radio show like mine, with my, limitations. I mean, I was very humble to find people like, for example, I don't know, Mr. William Binney, that is one of the first NSA whistleblower that normally goes around, big networks, and he, I don't know, came to me. I was grateful. But for me, the real more important guest, it is not just the big book author or the big conspiracy theorist or, the famous person. No, at the end, it's you, the listener, the person that, like me, I'm an average guy, who wants to do things a little bit more above the average, wants to try to do incredible things. That's for me how we're going to take this country back. When the average person, they want to start to decide is to step it up, and they want to do things out of the average. And the first thing you can do is speak up. Exactly. Not being afraid to say what you think. And that's exactly was the final goal and the purpose of the show. That everybody's allowed to come and talk. And if you want to ask me questions, you're more than welcome. If you have something you don't like about me, as I said, you're more than welcome. Honestly, I like that because that's also makes the show more interesting. Only thing I say, keep the mom, stay the mom, don't mention the mom, and stay away from my private life. That's all I ask. But when it comes to the public life, my political life, I welcome you in everything, seriously. And as anything goes, because this is also the spirit of the show. We have complete freedom of speech. Now, there is a lady who is from Lake Havasu City that I had the pleasure to meet during the very nasty Mojave County campaign, especially the one for county sheriff. That for me wasn't nasty at all. After all, it was just, I always keep it very professional. It's just another campaign, we try to do our part, we pick and choose the people that we think they're the right for the job, and then at that point, whatever, the voters will decide whatever they want. And I settle with that fine. That for me is my attitude. Of course, we can always do better. I always want to give the opportunity to the people that now they've been elected to do the right thing. Now, when it comes down to this lady, she was very funny. She made an incredible little YouTube making fun of me, my accent, my coffee, and everything else. And normally people say they get mad. Honestly, I was very pleased and humble. Say, wow, that's a cool little video she took, and whatever was with it, a lot of effort to make this sort of, let's say, almost comedy, in a way, political, sarcasm. It was great. I like it. So I brought her on the show. Then we started meeting each other on the air, and more important, on the air, on Facebook. And I think she's a cool lady. She has a lot of great ideas. Sometimes we agree, sometimes we don't agree. But, we have agreement on many things. But regardless, today is her show. Or at least she's the one that she will have also questions about me. Because sometimes, I like pretty much ask your opinion, but maybe she wants sometimes know a little bit about my story, and she wants to know a little bit more about immigration from a point of view of a former legal immigrant that I was. Here we go. Her name is Kris Marie from Lake Havasu. Kris, are you there?
I am here.
First of all, tell me, did you fall asleep with my intro? Because normally I'm pretty good at that. I can give you a good sleep.
No, I did not fall asleep yet.
Okay.
But I think we're good right now. I'm still awake.
Good.
I didn't get any Zanna coffee yet. I didn't pick it up at the Havasu Guns.
Listen,
I know, so terrible. I just remembered it.
And I called you the other day, and I will still, try to get you one day. Next time I come to. By the way, do you have a CCW?
Do I have what?
A CCW, in Arizona CCW.
I do not have an Arizona CCW, no.
Forget about that. Even better. I have a free gun safety class, okay? That it will be happening in Lake Havasu at the Havasu Guns. Exactly. Let me tell you exactly the day. We're talking about March the 18th. The 18th.
March 18th? Oh, I don't think so.
Oh, what happened to that day to you?
I'm going to probably be doing a fundraiser that day.
Oh.
But we don't,
No,
we're going to try to do a
No,
fundraiser for
I'm
the
sorry.
Humane Society.
No, I'm
for
sorry.
the doggies and the kitties and any other little fur babies that come in there that need a home.
My fault. Not the 18th. That's another class I have in Kingdom. I'm getting crazy here. It's going to be Sunday the 12th. Sunday the 12th of March.
Sunday the 12th?
A
Okay.
free gun safety class in Lake Havasu at the Havasu Gun Shop. And it's free, of course, as the title says, because, I'm sponsoring it. And I would like to have you there, even if you don't have a gun, even if you don't like guns. But since one day you may be in contact with a gun, maybe somebody may bring it at the school place or at the workplace where you work. We never know. At least you have the knowledge how to be safe around the gun, how to, in case you have to neutralize a gun, to unload it correctly, and more importantly, if somebody's doing something stupid, say, "Hey, you stupid idiot, I know the rules. Don't do that." Okay? So
that's right.
So that's the spirit of the class, and it's very good. I had an incredible class just last Saturday, and the people, they were so excited. So I wanted to invite you there because I still have this
thank you.
Zanna coffee waiting for you, this bag of coffee, before it gets too old, and then it's going to be pretty much useless. And I'm joking. I always keep my coffee very fresh. We roast it every other week, okay? But anyway, listen, so I hope I can see you there. That would be great if you can, okay?
That would be nice, yes.
Perfect.
We will try.
All right, so that's done. Now, back to us. I know that you have questions. I know that today you wanted to talk about several topics. And as I said, on this show, any topic goes, seriously. And I enjoy that part because I don't even know what you're going to ask me, really. And that's fine. I like that.
Oh, you're in trouble.
Exactly. As I said, don't leave my mom alone, okay? That's all I ask you. Go ahead. You lead the way.
No, it's good. It's good. As a matter of fact, it's amazing to have this opportunity to use your show to actually speak out and speak out on topics and not feel that you're being judged, and even if you are being judged, you get to have people get to say what they want to say, and you really do give a free perspective, and you're not trying to steer people away from what they're trying to say. And if you have input or other information, you are good at sharing that as well. So I do appreciate that.
You're welcome.
I think we were talking about a week and a half ago about President Trump's ban on certain countries and just closing up the borders right now. And I think that was, tremendous that he did that. Now, are there some innocent people that are going to fall through those cracks and it's going to severely affect them temporarily? Yes, but it was a temporary thing. It's not a permanent thing. I think that a lot of people, American citizens, it blows my mind how, coming from Boston, Massachusetts, I don't know if you know that I was born and raised in Boston, Massachusetts, and I am a second or third generation, second generation Irish, and I think second generation Italian.
Wow.
On my mother's side. So, and my family comes from immigrants. As a matter of fact, I am related to Miles Standish, the captain of the Mayflower.
Wow.
And my mother's side of the family comes from Naples, and they immigrated here, and also my family from Ireland also immigrated here, and they're all documented. Documented is the key word here at Ellis Island in New York City.
Yeah,
and you can find this through our genealogy, through like Ancestry.com, and I believe now you can put in your DNA.
Yes.
You and I could put in our DNA. We could probably be related at some point
probably,
through the Italian side. Wouldn't that be fine? We could be like,
we should do
that.
Exactly. And it's funny, that's what I really don't like when, let's say, the media, they of course all control and part of this plan to try to make us look all in the same pot, or we're all the same. We're all immigrants. No, we are not all immigrants, okay? There are immigrants, means it's somebody who start the process from a legal point of view, respecting the laws of the country where they want to try to immigrate. And I remind that it's not a right. I wasn't born here. You were born here, but
Correct.
Okay, I wasn't born here, so I cannot
Correct.
say, "Oh my God, I must come here. You must accept me." No, it's called like tomorrow. I come to your home, and maybe you want to invite me, maybe not. It's still your home. Normally, what happens at your home? You have a locked door.
I'll have to think about that.
Yeah, well, to see, I'm gonna eat all your fridge is gonna be gone if I come into your home. And but my point, exactly, you have the door.
You might eat all my pasta.
Exactly, you have a door,
Could be
you
a
have
problem.
wall, you have some sort of perimeter. Maybe you have also a fence, and you decide who can come to your home because it's your
Correct.
home. Same story, a country, a country without borders, a country without some sort of sovereignty that we can decide who is welcome here or not. It's not about, you like it or not. It's our right as Americans that we have that sort of, because there are 7 billion people out there. Let's be straight. More than 7 billion people around the world. What if
That's
everybody
correct.
wants to come here? Say, hey, I want to come to America. Everybody wants to come to America, or at least they used to. I mean, this country would not survive, and that's what we're getting to. So the point is, people, they forget, even people that, let's say, they are not immigrant, and they are just pro this illegal immigration invasion, I call it. That's the way it is. Because when you are not
It
an
really
immigrant,
is an invasion.
it's an invasion. Don't call yourself an undocumented immigrant. No, you are an illegal alien. That's the term.
You're breaking the law.
Exactly. It's exactly. By the way, it's the term written by Congress. It's a law. And definition is somebody who's, let's say, does not respect immigration laws and comes here. It is not an undocumented immigrant. It is an illegal freaking alien. Okay, and that's as simple as that, coming from a former immigrant. But now they make us look, the day without immigrants. No, wait a second. Don't mix apples with crap, okay? Two different things. The crapple pie is not gonna work. One is apple
Crapple pie.
Exactly. Immigrants.
I don't like crapple. I love apple pie, but I don't like crapple pie.
But they try to mix us up. I mean, so much that I tell you the journey how it starts. Okay, for a regular person, it normally starts at an embassy. Okay, unless you have some special invitation from the president or from the State Department, some special passport, a regular person from around the world must start their journey at an embassy. Then they may have a visa because maybe they have relatives. For example, now I'm trying to bring my mom here. Very difficult, by the way, very difficult. And I am a naturalized American. You have no idea how many loops and paperwork and hundreds of dollars of stamps and crap I'm paying. But these are the rules. I didn't make them, and we tried to go through. But what really disappoints me, it is not just the system that is difficult. No, okay, that's the way it is. But that there are two sets of rules in reality for two sets of people. There are the chosen ones, and then there are the idiots like ourselves, mostly Europeans, that unfortunately now we have to go through very much of a lot of hardship to come here to America. I mean, for example, you see these refugees, the way they want to call them, nobody vetted them. Even FBI said there is not really any vetting system. We don't know who they are. They don't even come with a passport. Meanwhile, people like my mom, for example, one of the questionnaires we had to answer, how many times did you change address since you were 16? Now she's 72, for God's sake. Think about
Right.
and if you say something is wrong, technically you're perjuring, okay? I mean, think about insanity. So anyway, let me shut up. But now you lead the way. Tell me, ask me anything you want. Go ahead, Kris.
Well, you made I would like to go back on a couple of sentences that you just spoke about the refugees that are not being vetted, and even President Assad from Syria says that these people, he can't even vet them.
Yeah.
And because there's so much fraud committed in his country and in other Muslim caliphates that are getting fake documentation to leave their said countries, and they're paying whatever little bit of money they have left in their pockets for this fake documentation.
Yes.
And it cannot be properly vetted. I don't care who you are in the FBI. I don't care. And as a matter of fact, I have friends who have a couple of my friends have kids who have graduated and now in the FBI, working for the FBI.
Wow.
And they will tell you they cannot properly do their job because it's just not feasible. We don't even have enough FBI people to cover the amount of people that they want to bring in to do those jobs. So, I mean, you have more people working in the IRS than you do in the FBI.
It's true. It is
taxing the American people.
Yeah, so we can
pay for them.
They
hired 17,000 people for the IRS just to enforce Obamacare.
It's true.
And so these are facts. And so any other American that doesn't want to agree with me can go and look up these statistics themselves. They can actually call the IRS and find out, what their hiring freeze is or how many people they hire. It's all Freedom of Information Act. You can get all this information. It's not something I'm just pulling out of my hat.
Yeah.
These are things that I've researched myself. Our country, our former leader, President Obama and Secretary of State Clinton have done some things of, I don't even want to get into it because it's just going to be another argument with other people, but they've done some things like Benghazi and whatever, and they've done things that are illegal. And the things that are going on in Syria right now are because of what Clinton and Obama caused.
Yeah.
They have funded the rebels with guns and money funneled through Saudi Arabia. And that's why President Assad has the mess he has on hand, because he's an independent state who has oil that we want.
Yes.
That's what happened in Libya.
Yes.
And that's why Gaddafi is dead.
Exactly.
And people don't want to accept that.
Exactly.
They want to be ignorant to that. They want to be spoon-fed by the media. They're spoon-fed media babies.
They're not ignorant. They are just cowards.
They don't care
hypocrites.
to look outside of the box. They think whatever is said on whatever news channel, that has to be true. But when you go listen to Al Jazeera, they're saying exactly what you and I are talking about right now.
For me, it's
go listen to Al Jazeera for a day.
Chris,
if you really are into the Muslim culture, go listen to Al Jazeera. They really do tell the news.
Chris, you know what is said? These people, in general, they are not ignorant. Some, of course, they are. Mostly they are hypocrites, and they don't care about the truth. All they care that they think whatever their guy or their girl is doing, even if it's doing wrong, just because it advances their cause, we don't care. And that's, for me, worse than everything, because, I don't care about parties. I bash Republicans. I bash everybody that deserves.
Yeah, you're not a party person. I know that.
This is true. If I was a Democrat, I would feel so bad after, these people, they were somehow exposing Bush for illegal wars, Afghanistan. There were no weapons of mass destruction, Iraq, and all that fraud, and all these trillions of dollars, and of all these hundreds of thousands, million of poor civilians that they got stuck in that hell. And of course, our soldiers that they gave their life, and probably they also gave their brain. And then they were complaining about that, and I was with them, and at the time I was a Republican. Now, I would like to ask, where are these Democrats that they were somehow against all these fraudulent wars, and they didn't say a word about, Libya, as you were saying, and then Syria, and then all the other things they've done. Now Ukraine Obama tried to create this sort of a Cold War with Russia. This is insanity. So, hypocrisy, and more important, also I say cowardice, because they don't want to even be, at that point, they are pretty much like afraid even to open their mouth, I really believe. But anyway...
I'd like to give a hypothetical situation of what's going on in Syria, because they're trying to make President Assad into some kind of, like Saddam Hussein was, killing all of his people, and the genocide.
Yes.
Assad is not a genocidal maniac. He's not. Now, have people died because his forces have to fight the rebels and the crossfires have killed people? Yes, and it's horrible. And you don't think this man has to struggle with that every single day? I'm not saying he's perfect, but I've listened to President Assad through interviews, and he has said clearly that he is not doing this, that he has to employ his troops to fight against these rebels, the Mujahideen and everything else that is out there. And the guns that they're using are from our country. Where did they get them from?
Or at least I was talking about
Where did they get the money to buy them?
2 years ago.
We created ISIS, and that's what people don't understand, and they think that I'm some kind of conspiracy theorist. Well, where did you think ISIS came from?
Oh my gosh, this is so big.
They didn't come out of thin air.
It is so evident. Even mainstream news, even CNN 2 years ago, and many other evident documents from the Pentagon. I mean, there are so much evidence.
Right.
That
And
is,
they don't want to go back to those news articles now because that's fake news, I guess. I don't know.
No, this is
But when you
beyond
think
that.
about what President Assad is doing, and think about this, let's use President Obama for a second when he was in office. Let's say, the militant militia, we have that militant militia that, or any kind of militant group now like Black Lives Matter or the KKK or whatever we have in this country. We do have some bad people here. I'm not saying we don't. I firmly believe that these groups are formed to create trouble for us. But let's just say those Minutemen militia were to, start to get bigger and bigger and decide to invade Montana because nobody's up there. And they just start, let's say Montana is Aleppo. Use Syria as Aleppo versus Montana. Okay, Montana is pretty remote. Nobody's really there. And these rebels go up there and start trouble up there.
Yes.
Well, the police come in, and it's too big for them. They can't fight them by themselves. So now the president has to get involved, and he sends over troops. Now the troops are there, and they're telling them, knock it off, knock it off. Well, these rebels say, screw you, and they start shooting their guns and their artillery and whatever else.
Yes.
And whoever's funding them, by the way, there's somebody funding this group, but whoever's funding them, it could be, let's say, another country. Let's say Mexico is funding this group to start this trouble on our, property here.
Mm-hmm.
What is President Obama supposed to do? Of course he's going to send troops in. Of course there's going to be some little miniature war going on in whatever town of Montana. I don't know, Billings. Let's say Billings, Montana. And of course people are going to die. But is that President Obama's fault? No. He has to stop it. He has to. That's what's happening in Syria. And then Syria requested the help of Russia because we lied to them. We're not there for Syria. We're only there for the oil. That's it.
Exactly.
And when Syria didn't join OPEC, that's the problem right there, and people don't want to address that either.
Exactly. And this is so sad, because it's so even a kid can understand that, okay? First of all, it's none of our business, okay? We are not Syria.
Exactly.
Syria is not our next door. Nobody made us God and the police of the world, and our soldiers are supposed to protect our borders and our rights. Not to
and
go
Assad
there.
is trying to protect his people, yet his people are getting killed.
Exactly.
And we're causing it. We're the problem.
And we know very well.
We're encouraging these rebels.
I know the same thing.
And funding these rebels and giving them and arming these rebels with our artillery, with the
everything.
United States government on it.
With everything.
If you go look at the artillery, it has the United States government written across it. Where did they get it from?
McCain, there are proofs and photos of Senator McCain there hugging and having a party time and drinking coffee and be, gay with coffee and cookies and whatever with these rebels. Is there. I mean, there are so much evidence. If people really are serious, all they have to do is just go out there and they can find everything they want. But let me just play this. It's almost funny because it's like a sleep probably, but whatever. There's much more than this. Let's play this. Listen to this idiot.
Was moving too slowly, but the fall of Ramadi has galvanized the Iraqi government. So with the additional steps I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
One second, let me play one last part.
ISIL forces, including volunteers I ordered last month, we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
I mean, even the idiot that is, of course, they can keep their mouth. Sometimes, when the truth is true, you can always fake it, okay? So, but this is almost past that point. The point, if you really believe, I would like to talk now, especially to the Democrats, okay? That they were against this sort of wars, anti-wars. And I'm with you, okay? Wars is really bad. Normally it's for the bankers. It's not even for anything else.
Correct. It's a money-making, profitable deal. Exactly. And I'm against it, too. I don't like them either.
Yeah, and the only wars is justified when somebody invade you, okay? That's it.
Right.
That's different. And, and I also had on my show several, for example, army people, military people. For example, a couple of weeks ago, I had a retired commander of the U.S. Navy. A guy that, he took seriously, and he was a professional, and he was a commander. He was even just a private. Guess what? He came to the same conclusion. And we talk always about the general, that Butler, that is one of the most famous and most decorated U.S. general in the Marine Corps. that of course is dead, during the 30s, he exposed with a book, War is a Rocket, what type of plan they had to use our soldiers, our flag in our name, to go out and start these wars. There were no other things but just for profit, for this sort of a plan of whatever corporation they want to get, they will get it with our soldiers. But my point is, where are these people now? We should be united as Americans, Democrats, Republicans, I don't care which party. We all been somehow bamboos. We all been taken advantage. They lied to us when the Republicans, they were believing the crap. Now the Democrats, they became the new neocons. That's very sad. The Democrats, they went along with all these wars. And look at, for example, the poor bastard of Libya. They call him dictator. Guess what? It's their business. The guy, by the way, was much better than many other politicians we have, for sure. But my point,
Well, Gaddafi was not a sweetheart, that's for sure. But like you said, it wasn't our business.
No, not our business.
And I had my friend's dear husband worked over in Libya with no problems until Benghazi happened, and he barely got out of there with the skin of his teeth and his life. And so, this Benghazi was a very serious thing, and I think Chris Stevens knew more than he should have.
Exactly.
And to have Marines there with no weapons just blows my mind. Not even a hand pistol. Those Marines had nothing to protect themselves.
And we know very well what happened. They left him there die. They want him to die. And there is no. How many times we need to hear it that we couldn't rescue it? The soldiers, they wanted to come there. Sigonella and Sicily, so close. They could have been there in 2 hours. 2 hours.
Exactly.
And less. And then we know that was exactly planned. And what is said, as I said, I'm not just disgusted with these politicians, wherever they are, that they plan all this. What I'm disgusted is with part of the American people, in this case, mostly Democrats.
Is the denial. They don't want to believe it. They don't want to believe that there's corruption in our government, and they think that our government has our best interest in heart, and they don't. I don't care whether you're Republican, Democrat, Independent, atheist, Catholic, Muslim, whatever you are, and you're born here. We have our government that wants to divide us because they know at 330 million people, us united, we can overthrow our government very easily.
But we don't even need to overthrow it. All we need to do is say,
they also know that we don't, because the government was, the way our forefathers set it up, we're a republic, number one. Everyone keeps calling us a democracy. We are not a democracy.
Exactly.
We are a republic, folks. Get with the program and understand what kind of government we are, and why our forefathers set up our government this way was to protect the people from the government, not the government from the people. And right now, this government thinks it needs protection from the people, and maybe they might be right, because we're tired, we're fed up. We don't want the way the government is running us anymore. We don't want a license to get married. Any one of us, gay, straight, whatever you are, I don't think I should have to have a license to go marry who I want to marry and be who I want to be with. And the only reason why they do that is to generate revenue and for taxation purposes only. They're trying to make us a corporation and a business partnership, which needs to be dissolved in a court of law. If I don't want to be with you anymore, I don't need a court of law to decide that for me, unless it escalates to that point, and I choose to make it there, to take it there.
I think,
but if I want to get a divorce, I should be able to get a divorce without the government involved.
It's not even about
the
money.
I don't need the government involved in my bathroom. If I want to go take a pure poo-poo,
it is.
It's none of your business what I'm doing in that stall. And if Caitlyn Jenner wants to come in and use the stall next to me so she can do her business, that's her business now.
Kris,
I don't believe the government is getting too much involved in our lives. It's too much.
Yes.
And everybody seems to want that, and I don't get it. They want more government.
Well,
why, people? Why do you want more government? You should want more freedom.
Kris, let me tell you something. First of all, one thing I want to tell you. I don't even think anymore, for example, the license, it's about the money that they make or whatever. It is about control. It's about all control.
Exactly. It's a control thing, too. Exactly.
Because, at the end of the day, think about it. I was studying that a few years ago. The real movement of the license, especially for the marriage, it started to happen when, after the Civil War, they wanted to control interracial marriages. That was
correct.
So they didn't want to have black people getting married with white. Simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, talking about, they fought for the black. They were still slaves after all, because they could even marry with their woman or their man, that they wanted.
Right, right.
And the same story then at that point was adopted for everybody else, because the idea is at that point, you are not free.
Because it was because you said it was like you said, it becomes control. Once they controlled one group of people,
They
which
control
was
everybody.
the black people. After the black people were no longer slaves, they figured, well, we still need to keep control over them at some point.
Exactly.
And that was one way. And then they said, well, let's slowly integrate that into everybody.
And that's also another thing. You were saying something very important. The word democracy, it is exactly the brainwashing that we've been, let's say, been abused as Americans the last at least 30, 40 years. You see from, President, for example, former President Bush, and then you, of course, so Trump. Obama. Every time they can, but Bush, Republicans, Democrats, doesn't matter. The last 40 years, they love this word democracy. Why? Because democracy is exactly the antithesis of what's supposed to be our republic, where the right of the individual, they're always protected. And people forget that. Say, when you have 51% of the people that somehow you can buy, or you can corrupt, or you can brainwash, because after all, people are brainwashed. Look, they can go just watch TV all day long, you become an idiot. So they can control the masses. When they control 51% of the people, that 51% can say how much money you can keep, what type of house you can live in, what type of marriage you can have, what type of smoke you can smoke, what type of food you can eat, everything. All they need to do is put everything at the polls, and that's how freedom dies. That's how Greece died.
And what kind of medicine to have,
Exactly.
and what kind of... Exactly. Everything is controlled.
The idea was supposed to be a republic, means that the right of the individual, they are unalienable, and unless you infringe on somebody else's rights, you're supposed to do whatever you want. And even 99% of the people don't like what you are, or what type of sex you want to have, or what type of drinks you want to have.
It's none of my business.
And exactly,
and it should be none of the government's business either. None of anybody's business.
Look at now in Arizona, for example. Okay, or even, for example, there was a law that they just passed in Nevada a few months ago, a proposition. 51% of the people was somehow brainwashed enough to create this new gun control law that now supposedly is in effect in Nevada. Just because 51% decide, hey, you don't need those rights, we're going to be sure that we can take care of that. That's wrong. Okay. And also another thing, for example, I don't like the idea that, I am pro legalization. I don't want to call it legalization, decriminalization of marijuana, okay? Because I believe it's a plant. I don't smoke it. I don't like it. But it is like, for many people, could be like a glass of wine, or even a medication, a natural medication. So if you do it in the safety of your own home, like I may drink now a glass of wine and I don't drive, you should be able to smoke whatever you want, okay? But I hate the idea that something that's supposed to be a right, the right to enjoy yourself, the right to cure yourself the way you want it, and to have a plant in your home, you must go through a process of democracy. That means we must convince 51% of the people to say, hey, give us this right back. That's the scary part.
Right.
Because at the same time, they can say, 51% of the people tomorrow, you don't need to live in a house that is more than 1,000 square foot. Because we say so. It's the law. Think about how scary this democracy can be, don't you think?
Very scary.
Yep.
Very scary. And that's what I'm a woman, and we've only had rights to vote for just about 100 years now. And, I have a problem with the government being involved in a woman's rights to choose whatever she wants. Now, morally, I might not agree with you on what you choose as a woman, but don't expect my tax dollar or my money to pay for what you want to do to your body.
Exactly.
So if you want to have an abortion, lady, by all means, it's none of my business.
What?
I don't agree with it morally. I don't agree with it. But guess what? I shouldn't have to pay for it either.
That's a good start.
And the rest of the world shouldn't have to pay for your mistakes.
Yeah.
You want to make a mistake? Make a mistake. But do it on your dime and time. Don't do it on my dime and time.
I agree.
Okay? Because if I go and, let's say, I go and make a bad business deal tomorrow. Let's say I decide to go gambling and I lose $20,000 on number 13 black on the roulette.
Yeah.
And then I say, excuse me, Luke, I knock on your door. Excuse me, you need to give me $20,000 right now. And you're going to go, what? Well, I just lost it on the roulette table. And, according to our government, I can go knock on someone's door and get my $20,000 back.
That's true.
It's your fault now, Luca, that
Yes.
I made that mistake. You need to pay up and pony up for my mistake because I need to pay my bills now. And that's it. Even though I did something and let's say you don't like gambling. You say, well, I'm not a gambler, Kris. That's not my problem.
Yeah.
Well, that's too bad. The government says, because they made a law, that all gamblers must, if they lose their money, if you make a certain amount of money, I can knock on your door and get my money from you.
But they did that
and the government will levy whatever against you to make sure you pay me back.
Hey, they did that with
That's exactly what you're saying when you ask somebody to pay for some mistake you make. But at the same time, I don't understand these politicians, whether they're Democrat or Republican, saying what a woman can do with her body.
Well, can I say
because
something?
if you're going to imprison a woman for an abortion, then you better imprison the man who knocked her up.
Listen, Kris, I have an idea.
Period. End of discussion.
Let me tell you something about this one. First of all, I agree with you.
The man better be in prison too, if it's going to be against the law.
But there are laws. Listen, Kris, let me tell you something. There are laws. First of all, I say one thing. You're right. We should never be forced to pay our tax dollar to anything like that for starter. Honestly,
correct. That's not a medical procedure. That's an elective procedure. It's like saying you have to pay for my facelift because I don't like the way I look now, or I have to pay for a hair transplant for a guy. No, those are elective procedures. Those are not necessary.
Another thing, I also believe another thing too. I believe in charity. Something we do our love as a human being. We want to help each other.
I agree too.
And when we can, I think normally the average human being does that. But every time the government try to force, even for a good cause, violence, because after all it's violence. The moment that you don't pay your property taxes, you will not leave when they give you the notice to leave, they will come with a SWAT team. So that's violence, okay, against you. So the point is, it's still a form of coercion. It's still a form of, let's say, stealing from somebody to give it to somebody else. And at that point, regardless of the situation, I always believe that violence should never be used. But now, when we look into this, it's beyond that. I believe that life, as much I respect, of course, the woman's body and she should, but this is more than no more her body. My humble opinion, maybe we disagree a little bit on this one. The human being inside her body, he has no fault or she has no fault.
I agree with you.
He has a heart.
But it's not your job to tell someone their morals. If they're truly a free country or a free person.
But this is not moral. This is not
Your
moral.
moral.
Let me tell you, Kris, the moral, you know what it means? Moral that tonight I want to have sex with 3 women. That's moral. That's my lifestyle. Don't mess with me. Leave me alone. Or you want to, no, seriously. And you may maybe want to have sex with 3 men. It's your business. That's moral.
10 men.
But nobody got hurt. You are over 18.
The Patriots. The whole team. No, I'm kidding.
I mean, seriously, everybody's doing it out of free will. That's moral. Many people may say, oh, Zanna, you are really an immoral person. Screw off. I don't care what you think about me and my morals, okay? It's my lifestyle. I don't do it in front of your face. I do whatever I want. But at this point, when a little being, defenseless, okay, that cannot defend, as a heart, as a brain, we know that feels also pain, and he gets killed, because that's what it is. He gets murdered, okay? This is no more about moral. This is, in my opinion, that's called, in a book of law, it's called murder, first-degree murder, second-degree murder, or maybe if it's by accident, it could be, manslaughter. But the point is still murder. That's the difference. I understand also the humanity.
Murder still comes under morality, though. It does.
No, wait. Murder, it's called a capital punishment. This is not just morality.
Well, because the government says so. But if we were to take the government, again, out of that, murder is still a moral issue, and it's in the Bible or whatever religions, deem it to be immoral and to be wrong.
Maybe I'm not philosophically deep as you are, okay? Moral means something that, becomes to mine, belongs to mine, let's say, choice of lifestyle or who I am, and can be, but it does not, let's say, changes or infringe on somebody else's rights. And among those also the right to be alive, the right of life. Let's say, for example, my morality is that I want to go around my home naked. Okay, who cares? Nobody get killed, okay? I'm naked, I'm crazy, whatever. Or your moral is that, I don't know, you believe in, I don't know what type of things people may don't like. It is still your right because you do not do and force this to somebody else.
I have a potty mouth. I swear a lot.
Fine.
People don't like that.
Fine, but nobody dies. Okay.
No, but still, the thing is that this is something. Okay. Why are the women? Why isn't the man then who gets her pregnant being up? If you're going to make the law, then make sure you include that man too.
Okay, but listen to me. First of all,
if you're going to make a law against a woman,
there is no law against a woman. So far,
what they're trying to do is overturn Roe versus Wade.
Okay.
To make it illegal for a woman to have abortions.
Listen to me. First of all, if somebody rapes somebody, there are many laws already
I
in the
was
book.
just going to go on that.
Okay, they're gonna be.
We're going to go there. We're going to go there.
Somebody rapes somebody. There is already a law in the criminal book. I don't care which state you are. You go down. Okay. And by the way, it's talking about laws in our even Arizona state statutes. Okay. One of the situations where you can use deadly force, and we are pretty good in this state about, at least we can defend not just our life, but also we can defend an innocent that somehow is being raped in the middle of being raped. Okay, so that's rape. It's a serious.
Yeah, but you can't take care of it after they've been raped.
I understand.
And
I understand.
You have to catch them in the act, which is pretty hard to do in most
I understand.
cases.
And it is a very sad thing. Listen, I can only even imagine. For example, I think, look, for example, the wartime. When women, they were afraid because the soldiers, the winners, arrive and they rape all the women, and then they bear the children or the child
Correct.
of their invader, of the person that is the most
Correct.
disgusting human being on the face. I mean, only God knows
And
what really can
as
go
a
through.
woman, I feel that men should not get to legislate on what goes on a woman's body. Period.
Okay.
End of discussion.
You
I can't. I'm not for, I don't like abortions either. I think babies should live, but if somebody makes a choice to do that, I shouldn't. First of all, I don't think the rest of the population should have to pay for it or pay taxes for it. Number one. Number two, that person has to deal with their mistake for the rest of their life. They have to live with that. You and I don't have to live with that.
I understand.
Okay?
I understand. There are also other options. Let me tell you one thing. There are also other options.
There are other options, but if someone listen, there's a lot of people out there who kill themselves. And they make the final choice, and it's their mistake, and there's no coming back from that.
But you can also adopt. For example, if you don't like that,
of course,
you
and a lot of people have done that. A lot of people have done that. But there's some people who just cannot go through with the process for whatever reason, and mental illness could be a factor. So many other things could be a factor, rape, incest. There's so many other things, and to force a woman, again, it's just more oppression for women, and I don't like it.
Okay, that's fine. As I said,
I feel it's oppression, and it's just another form of control. And I think that the government should stay out of a woman's body. Period. That's it. And I'm not. The other thing, one thing what I think is wrong is that once these late term abortions. Now that is a live child. It's a live child from beginning to, but now this child is fully formed with all of their arms, legs, toes. That's a baby, and you want to go 8 months and then abort your baby? You're crazy.
Well, 3 months they already have the little hands.
At that point, I think that person should be forced to have the baby, give it up for adoption. That's it, done deal. You're done. But don't kill the baby. That's crazy.
As I said,
that to me is insanity.
Kris,
I really, it's such a hard subject to talk about.
I know.
As a woman, I can't imagine what some women have to go through, but some women use it as a daily form of abortion because it's taxpayer funded.
Yeah.
Maybe if it wasn't taxpayer funded, maybe it wouldn't happen all the time.
Exactly.
Maybe if the men who were impregnating the women had some liability put on them, maybe then we wouldn't have so many abortions. Maybe if the morality was passed on and the liability was also passed on to the man impregnating the women, and there was some kind of law against a man, you impregnate a woman who has an abortion, you're castrated. Boom, you're done.
Okay.
That's it, you're done.
All right.
Maybe a guy would think twice about getting a woman pregnant then.
Well, listen, as I said, one
thing. You know what I mean? So to
Kris,
me, it's like, well, if you're going to have the laws for the women, well, you better have them for the guy too. And that's how I feel. If you're going to
Let me tell you something, Kris. Let me 1 second get a break here too. The point for me is very simple. You're right. Our tax dollar should never be used to do things in general. The abortion, of course, is one black and white, but also other things that we do not agree. That's number one, because it's our money. But specifically, the abortion for me means killing an innocent person who has not the opportunity to defend himself. That's the light. Now, we may have a little differences, maybe that, you say 8 months is bad, and maybe you go, 3 months. That's something we can talk. That's fine. But at the end of the day, life is life. That's the point.
Life is life, and I agree with you.
Is life. And I'm sad because there are many women, by the way, that they went through abortion. Then after, their life changed forever. I mean, they became the biggest advocates, for example, of say, oh my God, what did I do? And it's something only it's very hard to imagine what you really can feel for the rest of your life when you did something like that. I can imagine for a moment because it's something grows inside you, and I mean, let me give you an example. I supposed to be aborted, okay? My mother supposed not to have children because on top she could have been dead. When the doctor said to her, if you have a child, you may die. You have a medical condition. You may not be able to even continue your gravidence, okay? Your pregnancy, excuse me. She went anyway. She said, "No, whatever." And I tell you, and I can imagine, how easy it would have been at the time. On top, she was living in Germany when I was conceived, and you know what? I could die. I have a good excuse. Why should I even continue this pregnancy? And I tell you, and I always think and talk with her about that. Today I'm here. I may be a pain in the ass, but I'm a human being. And I tell you, and if it wasn't for my mom, that she said, you know what, is a human being. I never can forget that. For me, it's a very, very touchy topic, I'll tell you. And I don't know.
Well, that's, and for you, that's a personal thing. And your mother endured a miracle in being able to have you and be able to survive as well and not have her illness kill her. That's a miracle in and of itself. So, that's a great story. And then you said we're going to break right now?
No breaks.
Is it the Zanna coffee break hour?
Zanna coffee, I can wait for you. Don't worry about it. You're my guest. Don't worry about that. But anyway, as I said, not everybody must go through, for example, their situation may be medical situation like that the mother is really could be dead. And I'm not saying that people can say still whatever is little different, but people out there, they use abortion as some sort of pill control, birth control. I mean, okay, this week we screw up too much. Guess what? Oh, we got pregnant. No problem. Let me go to the to the clinic. We take care of that. That's wrong. Use condoms.
Well, yeah, and the reason why they're doing it is because they don't have to pay for it.
Exactly.
And so maybe if we regulated the fact that you don't get them for free and you got to come up with the money, or you end up having a baby in 9 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then we end up paying for the baby on welfare. But, if they want to give the baby up for adoption, there's so many people out there. There's other options. There's the option for adoption, that's for sure.
Okay.
And so, but at the same time, I don't think it should be all put on the woman. I think the man should be held accountable then too.
Let's change topic. This is something important. We talk a little bit, but sometimes you need to take a little bit of a break. Otherwise, we go crazy. It's very serious topic.
Yeah, we're going to pot. So
yes. Tell me something else. I know you have questions for me or anything you want to ask.
I do. Now I just learned a little bit more about you. You weren't even born in Italy. You were born in Germany. You were conceived.
No,
you were conceived in Germany.
I was conceived in Germany. My father was studying Latin. He was becoming a professor of Latin, believe it or not, in Germany. He was doing his master degree. And my mother was there helping him out, and I was conceived there. But then, of course, they came back to Rome, and I was born in Rome. So that's a little bit about it.
So you were born in Rome, okay.
Yes.
So, because at first I thought maybe you were born in Germany, and then they went back to Italy.
No, I was born.
Okay, so you were born in Italy, and when were you born? Do you mind me asking?
Well, normally I don't give all these details. I was born, let's put it this way.
Many moons ago?
My age is fine. That's not a secret.
Many espressos ago?
I am 1968. That's my class, okay? 1968.
Okay.
I am exactly right now 48 and getting to 49. So you know my age. That's not a secret. I put it on my Facebook.
Okay,
by the way.
so you were born. You were born in Rome in the 60s. I didn't even need an exact date, but you were born in the 60s, late 60s.
Late 60s, very late.
Late 60s.
Yeah, don't push too much.
And when you lived in Rome your whole life, or did you live in other parts of Italy, or did you live in any other country?
Well,
or
I grew up.
Tell me about your journey.
Okay, I'll give you my journey. I don't know why people really care about it, but I'll tell you. When I grew up, of course, my first part of my childhood, I was in Anzio. Anzio is a little town about 40 miles from Rome that is very famous for, first of all, was the hometown of Nero. And other Roman emperors used to have their villas, and it's a nice sea town on the Tyrrhenic Sea. And that's pretty much where my family also had businesses, and I grew up there. Then when I was 11, I left little town of Anzio. And of course, I started my journey into boarding schools in Rome, exactly at Convitto Nazionale in Rome. So I pretty much grew up my from since I was 11 till my, when I started to become a young man in boarding schools that was still in Rome. Then I went to Naples, where I did my military academy school. And then finally I was able to escape from there, and I started to travel around the world.
What decade did you decide to make your way to the United States?
Well, the journey started exactly when I was in my 17. I always was fascinated about America. When I was always punished, because most of the time I was punished, especially in the military school. I never really had a chance to see outside. So I used to go to the library. People normally Saturday and Sunday they were able to get out for half day, and I was stuck there. So at least I was had access to libraries. And one day I somehow came along across with the Declaration of Independence, and I said, "Wow, this is very interesting." And then I came across the Declaration, the Bill of Rights, and I was trying to compare the United Constitution, the U.S. Constitution and Bill of Rights with the Italian Constitution and Bill of Rights that doesn't exist. I said, wow, this is kind of different. And then I started to really envision where I want to go when I grow up, what part of the world I would like to find that somehow is closer to my ideals. Since I was always a little rebellious, I never really bowed down to anybody. That's why I also got me in trouble in the military. I never liked the idea of, let's say, nobilties, kings, princes, anything like that. And the idea always I wanted to say whatever I wanted to say, things that in Italy you cannot do. Because let's say if I say the Pope is an idiot, guess what? Tomorrow I can be not just sued, but also arrested. If I say the Italian president is a jackass, for sure I can be spending 5 years in jail. So I didn't fit in their profile. And I say, you know what? I think America is the place for me. So finally, it took me a while though, because, meanwhile I did my different experiences in Italy. I started my business. I was in the music business. I was a music manager. I was managing bands. Then I started music magazine. I was music magazine publisher, blah, blah, blah. And finally at 27, I said I had enough. And I changed completely career. I became a Roman gladiator. I spent 15 months on the streets of Rome fighting with my swords for reenactment shows, gladiator shows. And after 15 months, my English was almost decent. Yeah, I'm just kidding. But, compared to before, I thought I was pretty hot. Imagine then. But somehow, I remember I had my little dictionary.
It's almost decent.
Almost decent. I had my little.
Almost.
But, I was learning from from the tourist. That's the way I learned English. On the streets of Rome, I was 15 months talking with my customers. So I had my little dictionary, and the more important, I had all the different CDs that I used to learn music when I was a child. I used to learn English from the songs. That's the way I learned English. So anyway, I was made for loving you, baby, and pretty much that's the story of my most line that I had when I was speaking English with a tourist. And anyway, after 15 months on the streets, finally I was able to say, I'm ready. I met a German lady. We had an incredible love story. We went around the world for almost 3 months. Then I decided we stopped one time in Hawaii, in Los Angeles. I said, I want to go back there. We need to go to America. She said, you're crazy. I don't go to America. Guess what? I will go back to America. So what happened? I went to the embassy and I took my, I can't believe it.
Okay, let me stop you right there. Which embassy did you go to? The United States Embassy?
United States Embassy, exactly in Via Veneto, in Rome, Via Veneto. And that's the journey where my journey started. There you go there, you have an interview, you show who you are.
So tell me, okay, so you went to the embassy in Rome, and
Yes.
what did you do there? Tell me the little things you did.
Well, I pretty much begged. I said, I want to go to America. Please. And I was very lucky. There was incredible. Please. I need to get out of here.
Okay, so you begged them.
I begged them
and they
on my
said,
knees.
oh my God, okay, he's a pazzo, ragazzo. We're going to let him come.
She was a very nice lady.
Let the gladiator in.
I didn't talk about the gladiator, but they saw all the business I did and all the different things I'd done. And, I was pretty much, by the way, in Italy, I wasn't exactly like the immigrants that maybe left Italy 100 years ago, that they were living in very poor conditions. My family, is pretty decent. And I always had an opportunity if I wanted to make money, even in Italy, even it's difficult. But I wasn't exactly living under the bridges. I had a home and I had everything I wanted, okay?
Right.
But my point for me wasn't about money. It was about freedom. It was also about finding.
So you go to the embassy. Tell me, did you have to fill out a form? Tell me what you did. Because I'm trying to get to the point of
Questionnaire.
I'm going somewhere with this. I'm going on a little
show
legal
him that you
legal
can show
immigration
him,
journey here.
First of all, show him that you have something you can do, and I show him my background. Okay, I was a music publisher. I had a music magazine in the newsstands, 30,000 copies every month. I published music books. I published different things. I mean, I was an entrepreneur. That's what I did. I never really worked for anybody in my life. Even when
Did you have to pay a fee? When
when
you went there, you had to bring your passport.
Your passport. You fill an application. They do a background check. Then I had an interview.
You do application. Did you pay any fees?
Yes. There are fees to pay. I don't
So what
remember.
did you pay roughly back then?
I don't remember right now, but there was some steps.
So like $20?
Oh, more than that. A little bit more than that. Okay.
So more 100?
Maybe less. But anyway, it was something.
Maybe less. Okay, so
about $80.
between
I don't
$50
know.
and $100.
I don't know. It was something to pay. We had to pay. The point that you have most important was the interview with the consular, okay? Or at least the assistant of the
Okay, so
consular.
now you have an interview. Okay.
Yeah, in English, believe it or not. Okay, so that's at least my 15 months on the streets of Rome, speaking English with my customers as a gladiator was working for something, was worth something. So I spoke with
The
this.
American Gladiator, the true story.
Exactly. So anyway, I did this nice interview with this interesting lady, and she was of course working for the like assistant for the consular. The consul doesn't speak with everybody, but she different people. So I got my interview, and she said, "Come back in 5 days." So I came back in 5 days and said, oh my God. And I was freaking out because there was a lady in front of me that she just was denied her visa. And I knew this lady, by the way. She was also a friend of mine, and we found that by accident that day. She was a Roman lady, and it was a young lady. I mean, she was my age. But my point was, she was crying. I said, why are you crying? Because they deny my visa and I cannot even apply anymore for 5 years. I said, oh my God, this is like Russian roulette.
Once you're denied, you can't go back for 5 years.
Technically, they told wait for 5 years. Pretty harsh.
Wow.
They're pretty strict rules. I mean, on the book.
That is strict.
Okay. So, and the lady, by the way, for what I know, I mean, she's come from a great family. She wasn't even trying to go there to do anything like an illegal alien. I mean, they just threw their book at her, okay? But regardless, so I was kind of freaking out. So, oh my God, if they only found out what I do here on the streets of Rome, dressed half naked like a gladiator, they're going to probably kick me out so bad from the embassy. They don't want to talk to me anymore. Especially the young lady that was talking to me, she thought I was crazy. Anyway, instead, I opened my little passport and I see 10 years visa. So I was screaming. I started screaming on the way out, all the way to Via Veneto, to the subway. People thought I was crazy. My gosh, 57 minutes. We almost finished. I can't believe it. I even didn't see it. I need to let you go. 1 hour. We passed 1 hour.
We did not.
57 minutes. I swear it. Kris, I had to let you go.
Did we really?
Yes, we are already out of the hour. You need to come back.
Oh my God.
1 second. This is out. I cannot even play anything. See you at the second hour. Don't go
You're
away.
listening to Love, Guns and Freedom with Luca Zanna on United States.fm Network.